This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. The Fan.
That's a great setup, Bob.
Marathon time, marathon segment, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. Go to the website and hit shop deals if you're looking for a second-to-none refrigerator or washer dryer or cooktop or microwave. They will save you money, specifically and especially if you mention that you heard about it during the Friday Football Feast on KFAN. We thank Brian and Sarah and everybody with Steve's Appliances for assisting us with Alec Lewis inclusion each and every Friday Football Feast. His appearances are provided by the standalone appliance store in Mounds View, Steve's Appliances, and stevesappliances.com. 12 fighting for roster bubble spots. Where would you like to begin? Who are some of the names?
Yeah, I mean, you want to start at the top? We talked a little bit about Rondale Moore. I mean, we could go back to that. Well, we could go Brian Asamoah. We could go Xavier Scott, Bo Richter. I think, and you guys are going to like this, if there is a player tomorrow who just eviscerates the Texans offense, I wouldn't be stunned if it was Bo Richter. Mm-hmm. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I'd like to hear why.
He's looked very good. Like last year, he was a solid special teams contributor. If I'm not mistaken, he forced a fumble in some game or recovered a fumble in a game or another. But as a pass rusher, this camp on the edge, like he's kind of worked with the second team opposite, sometimes Dallas Turner, sometimes Gabriel Murphy. And it's just, the technique has looked good. His explosiveness, I don't know. It just wouldn't surprise me. And I could be very wrong if tomorrow against the Texans, you're going, sack Bo Richter.
Yeah, we don't do that in the preseason.
Jeez, okay, not that loudly into the mic. My goodness.
Sorry.
And I apologize for kind of low key not paying attention when you were talking about Bo Richter, and here's why. It's because I'm watching this virtual measurement NFL video that they sent out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's so boring, but yeah, I mean, it's a thing. It's going to be in every single game. On television, every single game with the same amount of cameras and angles and stuff like that at every stadium. And I'm watching it, and they've been experimenting with what you will see on Fox 9 tomorrow, a virtual measurement. Now, like I said yesterday, the chains still are going to be on the sideline. So, chain gangs, they're not going to be out of work, those working on the chain gang. But the virtual measurement is what everybody will see in every single game. And while it looks cool and it's cool in video game technological fashion how they're doing it, for me it's the spot of the ball is the A topic, not the freaking measurement, man. So it's the replay of I think his knee was down there, his elbow was down there, his butt was down there, the ball should go there. It's correct me if I'm wrong here, and I'm not, we're not turning this into Trey Blake is terrible, so subsequently he got demoted fan line, which he did. But it's the spot of the ball. You see what I'm saying here? This is cool. It's a nice bell. It's a nice whistle. But the spot of the ball is what matters most, right?
Yeah, it's like my car battery's not working, but I'm just going to fix the tire. Does that do anything for you? It doesn't. I told Nordo this. I actually, part of me, maybe I'm nuts, I kind of enjoyed watching those two guys wearing those, I think they call it like a smock, like a painter. That's what it kind of looks like. And they trot out there holding these chains and then they stretch it. I always kind of like that.
So that's not going to happen anymore, right?
No, I mean, it's kind of now you don't have the pause of the game, which people probably like. It keeps things flowing more smooth. But if if the attempt is to make you be as factual and objective as possible, then you're still going to have the subjectivity of where the ref, who is watching from 30 yards away, places the ball on a specific hash. That's still that's still a situation, and that's still going to be easy to nitpick. But it's like you like my analogy? It's like the car battery's wrong, and we're fixing the tire.
So
I agree.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have not read your article with the 12 players who either need to or might show up. But it kind of popped when you were talking about Bo Richter, because it's interesting for Richter and Gabe Murphy in a similar way that you're speaking about a Dallas Turner, because in the end, it's like, well, we got to find different ways for him to get on the field. If Van Ginkel and Grenard are rolling, it's very much going to be in a reserve spot for them. But Javon Hargrave. So a guy that I want to see a lot from tomorrow, and I'm curious maybe if you've seen much from him in camp, is Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. So Hargrave, I don't know why I was obsessed with this, but I've been obsessed with Harrison Phillips and his snap count since he came to the Minnesota Vikings. And he had that terrific season statistically. He also played like 75% of the snaps when he was really kind of a 50-55% guy. So now I'm looking at Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen's a high-volume guy. He's typically been 75 to 80% of snaps, but specifically with Hargrave, he's usually mid-50s as PA's watching something loudly on his phone back at TCO.
Just listen.
To show you what it's going to look like, and then Blake may have some additional operational points to make for.
All right, anyway, go ahead.
I'm just curious about Ingram-Dawkins and just guys that are going to be in reserve behind. I mean, if we need the best of Hargrave, if we need the best of Allen and Phillips, I need those fat guys in the middle to kind of come in waves, if that makes sense, if we're trying to be Eagles Midwest with this defensive front.
I'm actually glad you mentioned Ingram-Dawkins. It's not a guy have written much or talked a lot about, but he's taken a lot of snaps with like the second team unit when they're in a 5-down front with 2 edges and 3 interior guys. And I mean, there are bits of times where he's flashed a little bit, like as a just getting into the pocket and creating a little bit of havoc. That whole group tomorrow, if it is Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, Jalen Redmond, and Levi Drake Rodriguez, whether it's Davis Mills or Graham Mertz or whoever's back there,
pack a lunch, right?
They better. I mean, I'm like, I mean, this is Purple Radio, but like those guys, the quarterbacks back there tomorrow better be prepared. I'm not kidding. Like hopefully those guys don't come into the game thinking like these are your typical backups, because Levi Drake and Jalen Redmond have popped, and Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins has the skill set. PA, what do you think?
It's potentially, and this is outside
it's
of
the 46 defensive line tomorrow.
Well, no, I've said this 2 or 3 times the last couple of days, and I can't get anybody to disagree with me. Like, I mean, you've been here, a handful of years, so your quick twitch on like the 4, 5, 6 deep on defensive line 15, 20 years ago would probably require some search, some internet searching. But this has a chance to be the deepest defensive line the Minnesota Vikings have had since I started calling games a quarter century ago. And it's, I didn't call John Randall games, okay? I started in 2002. But Kevin Williams is the best defensive tackle 3 technique that I've seen in my days having the privilege of calling games for this team. So I'm not saying Hargrave is or is not big ticket Kevin Williams, even though he's really, really good. But outside of that, when you run through it with Allen and Phillips and Redmond and Levi Drake Rodriguez, Taki Taimani against the run, and the Georgia rookie, this has a real chance to be the deepest defensive line group that I think they've had in at least 20 years.
And then you talk about Elijah Wood. No, I'm kidding. No, this front seven.
Tyler Batty, though.
This front seven, you just in conversations with people internally, they are, I'll just say it, they are very encouraged by what they've seen thus far out of the front seven, and it pales in comparison to what we've seen since I arrived here in 2022.
Right. One name, that you were rattling through, like, hey, do we just want to, pick a name? Rondale Moore here. You said Xavier Scott. And so that kind of dovetails or kind of harkens back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of reps by the running back crew. I don't know why. I'm not trying to be down on Ty Chandler. It just feels like in some ways that he kind of had his chances and that part's kind of slipping away. And it just, what we're going to get out of Jordan Mason, I have very high expectations for that in tandem with Aaron Jones. But kind of that next step, and maybe you're getting something out of Xavier Scott that you won't be getting out of anybody else when you're looking at reserve RBs.
Yeah, I can't remember the game. It might have been 2023 in Las Vegas in the locker room after that game. But
what a great game that was.
Yeah, it was terrible. But if it was indeed that locker room, I remember talking to Brian O'Neill and him being like, the question with Ty Chandler has never been his burst explosiveness and his running ability. Like, you even see it in these training camp practices. Ty Chandler has it when he's got the ball in his hands.
His ability to get to the boundary or turn the corner?
Yeah. I mean, he had 132 yards that day against Cincinnati in 2023. That loss stung, but
tush push, Brandon Powell, though.
Yeah. But for him, it has been, I mean, again, when you think about who's going to make this roster, like say you're sitting in the car, you're sitting at home, and you're planning on doing your own 53 style, just like a bracket and Selection Sunday.
You think I don't do that?
One of the key ingredients to who you should pick should be a player on the offense's ability to know the scheme, to know protection, to know the rules in a way that the coaching staff can trust him. That's just huge. It has been, and it always will be because this offense has so many nooks and crannies that these guys have to be aware of. And so for Ty Chandler, again, tomorrow, like, you might be wowed by his running ability, but the coaching staff is not going to be. What is going to be massive is on the downs where he has to pass protect. It's not only can he hold up, does he know where he's going? Does he know the protection rules? All of that stuff. And then in the passing game, is he securing the football? And those are things that Xavier Scott has kind of shown an ability to do this spring and in training camp. Now he's going to have to do it on a different stage and in a different arena. But again, like, it's in terms of entering for me, like, that is one of the battles tomorrow that's going to be important to watch. The other one probably that I haven't touched a lot about is like tight end 3 is Ben Urasek playing. Giovanni Ricci, that is a player on the Vikings roster, low level in the tight end depth chart. But like,
no, but you didn't mention the guy I'm hot on.
Ooh, Bryson Nesbitt.
Yeah, it's Urasek/Urachek's. I mean, he's the third tight end, right?
I figured it out.
It's Urasek, so Urasek's the third tight end if they're starting games that count tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah, but whoa, you got tight end steam?
No, I want to add something to the running back bit, but continue.
No, I'm looking forward to I mean, that tight end group. Urasek probably is the leader in the clubhouse, you would think. For that T3 spot, they targeted him and were aggressive in signing him as an undrafted rookie. And
in fairness, the first time that I even paid attention to Nesbitt was at the Monday night practice. He caught a couple of passes. He looked like he might be a little athletic.
Look, you come out to practice, you see some stuff, you stand on business of your evaluation.
I'm a big Nesbitt guy right now.
If I'm not mistaken, his dad played in the NFL. But anyway, PA.
Well, and Baby Carrot with the Urasek bit. I mean, Gary Lockwood, the whole thing.
It's hilarious. Yeah,
I'd like to see
the only thing that I would add on top of what Alec laid out about the backup running back situation, and I agree with everything you said. And I can't remember what happened in the Jets game last year at Tottenham Hotspur, but remember Ty came in. One play and I think it was a swing and he fumbled it or something like that. And well, that was it. I mean, he came out of the game. He didn't come back in. So, whether it's reliability or lack thereof, pass protection or lack thereof. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And perhaps it has gotten better into this season because these young men have a right to put a lot of time into something in the off season. And then all of a sudden, under the cover of darkness, training camp preseason, we're like, whoa, he fixed that. So that starts tomorrow for 31. With Xavier Scott, Zay as they call him in the business, it's clear with certain facets of this team and of this approach that girth and size matter, specifically up the middle offensively and defensively. So with Jackson, Kelly, and Fries, we see what they did. With Jordan Mason, we see what they've done. He's a bigger guy, faster than I thought. Well, Xavier Scott's 15 to 20 pounds heavier than Ty Chandler. I mean, it's right around 15 pounds. He's a bigger back. And they just have a size lean, in my estimation, with certain facets of this team where I don't think they're going to bend. So I'm not going to make Scott minus 120 over Chandler to make that 53. I still would make Ty favored out of, especially with his special teams prowess. But Scott plays well in special teams from what I hear. I mean, he played for Indianapolis in the preseason last year. And I think he was with Keaton Slovis, who's a backup quarterback for the Texans. And they both played a lot in the preseason. But I think, you know what I mean, Alec, that size thing with Xavier Scott is if they're looking to get bigger in certain spots, then he might be the answer.
Yeah, he's 15 pounds heavier per the roster, so you're spot on. I mean, the tangential aspect of this is protecting JJ McCarthy is just going to be so critical. You like with this guy, you just can't. You're just not going to be in this situation. You just can't afford to. Oh, we missed a pass protection opportunity in this instance on a second down, and he got absolutely clocked the way that Anthony Richardson did last night. That just cannot happen. And so if you're Kevin O'Connell and you're calling plays, you have to be able to rely on that person back there to be as good of a shield possible behind the offensive line. And so, it's you're smart to mention it. But I mean, like, I will say this. On Monday night, Nordo, you were there. There was a pass over the middle that hit Xavier Scott's hands, and he tipped it and was intercepted. And so, I mean, that's wades into the turnover conversation that earns the ire of this coaching staff with what's happened here. But neither guy, in my estimation, like, it's not secured. So it's time for those guys to compete and duke it out against the gnarly Houston Texans.
Does Mason catch it a lot?
He catches it some.
A little bit.
No, I made this joke the first time, one of the first times I saw it, because we were doing a Saturday show on the Perch. Well, you were there. And we had Byron Murphy Jr. and the whole thing. Yes, sir. And I was watching the offense, and thanks to Kevin O'Connell for placing that directly right in front of us. It was awesome. It's not Adrian Peterson, old school, super mechanical and entirely uncomfortable catching the ball. It just doesn't look natural at all. So and he wasn't asked to do it a bunch in San Francisco, and just that part of the game, whether it's Zay, as you mentioned, just kind of having a tough time with it, and maybe, that's something he has to improve on, but it didn't seem like Mason was a big part in the passing game either. And I mean, I'm looking at Jones with the 50 catches he had last year, 60 targets. That feels kind of right in line with maybe what we'll expect to some degree again, but how that changes, how much you can rely on him in that respect is still to be determined from my standpoint.
Yeah, Mason has 18 career targets, 14 career catches. So it just obviously has not been a critical part of his workload, or wasn't in San Francisco. And I should say, Xavier Scott, like, that was really the one drop I can remember from him all camp. So it's just one of those things. Like, tomorrow it's something he's gonna have to prove what he's proven throughout camp, that he can catch it reliably. But I also, like, that's part of having Aaron Jones. The Vikings have so much faith in his ability as a route runner and as a pass catcher. That's part of the 1-2 or 1A, 1B, as Kevin O'Connell would say, at punch that they've got at that position.
And lastly for me here, because you guys are going to go solo the final segment, I'm at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center with some business to take care of around the corner. Lastly for me, that Wednesday story you had on the Flores defense was really, really good. The Athletic, theathletic.com, if you'd like to read it. For those who missed it, what still resonates and is intriguing to you, and, with all this joking about the Buddy Ryan 1985 Bears 46 defense, The Vikings defense does have 46 elements to it. I asked Flores about it earlier in the week, and it absolutely does. We can joke about it all you want, but it has 46 elements, man.
You're joking. I'm serious.
With the story, what'd you like?
Yeah, so I'm going to read you this quote that we had in this story. Okay, it's from Brian Flores. I think we've built a reputation of disguise. So what the opponent sees, they don't think that's what it is. And so sometimes what they see is what it is. Other times, the disguise is what we want to show them, but it's really not what we're showing them. And sometimes we want to show them, and it is what we're showing them. I think that's he gives this quote where it feels like he's speaking directly to opposing coaches that he expects might be reading this article to try to throw them off. I would say the one thing about this defense,
that was about a 75-second piece of audio, I bet, too.
Yeah.
With how calculated
it took forever for him to get. No, the one thing about this defense is that I just hope people understand the influence that the players have on it. Like, they often sit in these meeting rooms, and it is just like a think tank of ideas. Hey, Harrison, can you start at the line of scrimmage and run the post safety there? Hey, Jeff Okudah, can you line up, look like you're blitzing off the edge, and then drop into a half safety? Like, it is, it's all so thought out to the point of, to the extent of, like, how a player aligns in terms of how their shoulder is angled, like, could be a disguise for something they've shown in the past. It's impressive stuff. And as folks listening are probably thinking, well, then why has Ben Johnson been able to, beat it? Why were the Rams able to counteract in the playoffs? As impressive as it is, there's going to be a lot on this defense's plate this year, and Brian Flores is going to have to prove for a third year in a row that he can take the personnel given to him and make magic with it.
All right. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow, Nordo with Fan Line, and I'm sure we'll text during the day, and I'll see you at the game tomorrow. Alec, the analyst has arrived, and we have some unfinished family business that we have to handle before a meeting at noon. So God bless you guys. Thanks to everybody for listening. And Nordo and Alec Lewis will carry you to noon at FM 100.3 KFAN, your Friday football feast leader.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. PA has departed.
Did you watch Tanner McKee last night?
Yeah, he did his thing, right?
This guy can process the field.
You love Tanner McKee.
I every time I see Tanner McKee, he's like 6'6", all arms and legs. I enjoy watching him throw the football.
Okay, dumb question. So I have YouTube TV. I couldn't find, other than highlights, Eagles-Bengals last night.
You don't have NFL Network on YouTube TV?
They were showing I was getting Colts and Ravens.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I have an NFL package or something special.
But I did see in that game, by the way, I was kind of jealous, like Burrow throwing to Chase in a preseason game.
I mean, I was wondering that, like, am I insane for spending a Thursday night with that on my TV and then watch? Admittedly, I have my TV on until the end of Seahawks Raiders 23-23. Like,
no, you leave it on. You watch the whole night. It was awesome. Getting to see Ashton Genty, right? And now the overreaction to how he did or didn't perform in his first preseason game. He's either going to be a bust, and, Carroll's over, but he had Geno playing for a little bit, the whole thing. So,
well, Shedeur plays tonight, and
I want to see
it's at 6 p.m. And I'm like, I've got dinner plans. Do I need to call off?
You're going to record it, correct?
I mean, yeah, and I'll go back and watch the tape. I'll be like a coach in the office, rewind, play fast. How's his footwork look? Yeah, that might be the situation. I might watch the all 22 tomorrow morning.
It's super dumb. I love preseason football. I do, and for me, and part of it is just trying to keep up with the human cartoon. But a big part of my existence, like, I got to know the names. I got to know some of the backgrounds. Like, I have to, and that just is something that's stupidly important to me. Think about all the grand pieces of wisdom that you can fill your brain with. But I'm thinking about Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. I'm thinking about stuff like that on a regular basis.
I do appreciate that you just you're always like. I'm surprised you didn't throw Zeke Correll at me, but
Chaz Chambers.
I will say I like Chaz Chambers.
Like Chaz?
I've seen him out there. He works after practice on these pass rush bags. It's extra
He's giving
work.
it his all.
Yeah, he is, and it's always impressive.
Chance to make the team.
You said the preseason. Like last night, I had a buddy texting me like, "Man, I can't believe the way Aiden O'Connell looks," and I'm like, "Is it like are we okay?" I mean, like honestly, Barrero said this a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Do we even realize how much this occupies our lives?" And maybe it's not our lives; it's just like us. I don't know. The people listening to this are like, "You guys are nuts for watching preseason," but
yeah, we're weirdos.
Anyway, Zeke Correll, yeah.
Well, when I'm not obsessing over the snap counts of Harrison Phillips on the defensive line.
You're looking forward to Garrett
Vikings.
Bradbury coming back for joint practices.
It's going to be nice to see Garrett. It will be next week. Okay, Garrett didn't necessarily provide what we needed, specifically against the Kenny Clarks of the world, the Akeem Hicks.
Dexter Lawrence seemed to be an issue.
Aleem McNeils, those types. Dexter Lawrence, certainly a fly in the ointment for Mr. Bradbury. I liked Garrett. And he had some good years here. I still, and I, again, as we talked about it, I was shocked not shocked, but you and I hanging out, we're doing radio and the whole thing, or Saucy and I were, and I believe you joined us that day just chatting about free agency. You got Kirk, hitting that big deal and all those dollar signs in Atlanta. And then you kind of see free agency start to unwrap, we know Darnold and all of this. But fast forward to, Bradbury gone, Ryan Kelly in 2025. Like I'm thinking, Isaiah Rodgers made sense. That was kind of the first one off the table, but you have all this money. We want to go get some high number guard. It ends up being Will Fries. Ryan Kelly. What? I could have sworn that Bradbury was going to play his last season here and then just drift off into the mist and, maybe it was a Michael Juergens or something like that. But Kelly comes in, Bradbury, I'm going to miss that. Welcome back, Garrett.
It was such an interesting, the first day of free agency, Isaiah Rodgers is the first name.
Yeah.
And then it goes hours and the Vikings don't do anything. And Twitter, what? We said we're going to spend all this money and
and you're just picturing they're losing out on every deal.
It's just Rob Brzezinski is just swinging and missing with every agent.
A lot of self-loathing
I don't believe so. I've said this to you and I said it to BA maybe even last week. Like the Ryan Kelly center thing was not something that I expected at all. And I will say it will be good to see Garrett. He was nothing but great to me in his time here, and joint practices in general should be fun. Chad Graff, former Vikings beat writer, is going to be back. Lot of. The Athletic they're sending a lot of people. Like you would think this is like Radio Row Super Bowl with how many people are coming for this joint practices. Mike Vrabel will be out there with a bloody face or something, and
he's going to be running. He tries to run drills. He's going to be a personality on the field.
I'm just I want to see if Brian Flores lets it rip against that Patriots offensive line.
I hope he does.
There are some joint practices in the past couple of years where Flores is like all in, and there are others. I remember the Cardinals joint practice maybe either last year or 2 years ago where it was like Brian Flores was using his day one install 4-man pass rush cover to most basic coverage in the world. So if he does let it rip, those Patriots offensive linemen, it's going to be an interesting one for them.
We kept talking about guys we want to see, and we were digging deep. I'm not necessarily over the moon about seeing Chaz Chambers tomorrow, but I wish him the best. Xavier Scott, looking forward to seeing that. The running game matters to me. We haven't talked about a guy that's just supposed to be a shoo-in. He's been slotted in LG1, that being Donovan Jackson. I think I hate to say that I've kind of forgotten about him, but it's been kind of comfortable in the regard that I was just kind of able to, again, we drafted him in the first round. There weren't questions about, man, how's his physical status? How's his health? Does he have to gain weight? Is he going to take weight off? How's he going to fit in? He just freaking plugged and has played. And it's so awesome in that regard. But that means he's among the people that I'm most excited to see tomorrow. So 10,000-foot view, Donovan Jackson. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you're going to have on the other side Ed Ingram. The last time you took an interior offensive lineman who you traded, kind of clearing the way for this.
Gosh, welcome back, Ed.
You're clearing the way for this new look interior. But I take Donovan Jackson. Someone asked me this yesterday, and I was considering it. And similar to what you just said, I haven't focused on him a lot. I'd be lying if I said I have. You've been watching a lot of the quarterbacks, been watching a lot of some of the lower level roster guys. The pass rush has obviously stood out, cornerbacks. But when I have noticed Donovan Jackson in the run game, feels like he's created the push you would have expected given what he did at Ohio State. And then the pass protection, like, it still feels like it's a work in progress from a technique, body positioning standpoint, but not a hurdle that you wouldn't expect for a guy going up against Javon Hargrave in a one-on-one setting. I mean, right. Javon Hargrave is not your interior defensive lineman for Purdue. It's just not the situation. And so the other thing about Donovan Jackson, and I haven't mentioned this probably or written it, but they've run some very interesting screens in this training camp. More than I can remember, and they've been more effective even in these training camp practices than I can remember. And some of that, I think, has to do with the improvement or the increase in aptitude and just like football intelligence of those interior offensive linemen, because the screenplay is such you have rules, but then you gotta kind of just have to react on the fly. And you know this as well as I do. There have been screens in the past couple of years where it's just like Ed Ingram's out there, guy flies right behind him, and you just gotta, you just have you have to find a body. And Donovan Jackson in that setting, it just feels like he has the awareness to make those work. So, like, I'm pumped to have all 22 snaps to watch Donovan Jackson against the Texans and just see the technique over and over in opportunities tomorrow that I expect we're going to see.
While you're watching all 22 of Shedeur Sanders. You will record it on a Friday night.
As I have a hard time sleeping, gearing up for this highly anticipated preseason game, I'm going to be on NFL Pro just rewinding his third down snaps from the Browns preseason game. No, I'm making myself seem insane, and I may or may not be.
That's Alec Lewis. I'm Nordo. One more pause, and then we'll put a wrap on this thing. It's a Friday feast, 9 to noon on the
play.
I can't wait. Final segment, it's a Friday feast, and we can't wait for tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock. Vikings hosting the Texans. Alec Lewis is in studio with me, Nordo. JJ McCarthy emerging from the fog, from the smoke emanating from the Dragon. No thanks to Nissan Stadium and the Titans. We can't have the Fireball anymore. How cool is that going to be?
I mean, it is pretty wild. Now it's been a year and just the journey that has been. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy here, but like,
I feel an emotional piece on The Athletic coming.
No, not yet. There will be many emotional pieces throughout the year because that's the job. But no, I mean, it's like I do remember vividly just sitting up there watching him play that game against the Raiders, and there was an interception that I think was picked off by Jack Jones on the sideline. But other than that, I mean, it was pocket movement, stepping up and finding guys on the sideline. Like it's going to be very fun, and it's you got to imagine for JJ. Like I will say this, like it's been a hard road. Like you're drafted, you're heralded as the guy, then this happens out of nowhere, and then you're kind of, I mean, not on the back burner, but Sam Darnold, the season matters. This is how it goes, and you got to kind of wait your time. Then you come back in the spring and have had this training camp. So it's a great opportunity for him to kind of remind probably everybody the skill set that I mean, it's interesting because we talked about this earlier, like the narratives around JJ. There's always been narratives around JJ, and even when he was in college at Michigan. And I don't know if it's, I don't know. Like just some guys get talked about in a certain way and other guys don't. But it's interesting that the narratives have always followed him in a certain way. Maybe it's just tied to he's got a level of charisma that bring on narratives in a way that like a guy like Justin Herbert, who's more quiet and less has less personality. Like maybe that's just how it goes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed in some ways looking back. What was taken from us was could he potentially usurp Sam Darnold and even start next year? Because you remember after that game, and I'm glad you mentioned the pick. He bounced back from it and looked really good for the remainder of his time in the game, but he did throw an interception that was ill-advised, something dumb that a rookie would do, but then he makes the change and he throws a couple of TDs after that. But just kind of, if you remember, after that game, before we were going to do the Monday night practice, and then it's canceled and the whole bit, and we found out about the knee.
It was eerie.
Yeah, it was. There was kind of the sentiment into that following week before we heard about the injury that, are we on to something here? And Darnold, had not really proven himself even in camp to an extent, the ups and downs, maybe similar to how we've talked about McCarthy now. But that was kind of taken away from us, how that could have looked into that second game if you got the joints out of McCarthy. Could he have taken the starting job from Darnold? We kind of got that was taken away from us, the speculation.
I mean, we've talked about this, and I've written it and said it plenty of times, but the plan was, after coming off of that preseason game, he was going to get a ton of reps in that joint practices in Cleveland, and then who knows? I mean, it's such a crazy. I mean, you just never know how things fall. It's fascinating. Like if he goes out tomorrow and balls the way he did last year in the preseason game, and then joint practices against the Patriots, and the pass protection is holding up, and he's finding Jordan Addison on intermediate and breaking routes. I mean, the hype will start to build in a way that you will have forgotten the last 3 weeks and whatever they've been with the defense dominating. It is, that's why Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the first training press conference for training camp, he's like, I just love learning about what we see every single day. And like, that's maybe a classic GM quote, but it is the joy of this, where every single day you learn something. And tomorrow will be a great snapshot, for that.
You think do we get a full quarter out of McCarthy?
I would expect a quarter. I mean, like some people have tossed out, like, could he play a half? I would be pretty shocked if he played the whole first half. Maybe it's like 2 series, 3 series, something
early into the second.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. And again, a lot of that, and there's going to be optics and narratives around the numbers that he finishes with and the throws that he ultimately completes or doesn't. But so much of tomorrow, people should just remember, so much of it is procedural, making sure he feels that environment, just as part of the preparation for what is ultimately to come and what ultimately matters.
Yeah, there could be a deep pass. There could be one of those highlight plays that gets the people off their seats at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Oh, there we go, Paul.
It could be one of those, hey, he just got to his second or third read and made a very good decision. It could be he did not throw an interception. He did not give you one of those moments. Because for me, I think, I can't remember when it was, maybe a month or two ago, you invited me onto your podcast, and the question still will remain and is still fervent among fans is, what do you think he's going to do today? And we can throw out arbitrary numbers. You had that cool, that listener poll or survey on The Athletic. Would you slot him in here from a yardage? And then you put some TD interception ratios together. I still believe that he can have a fantastic season this year. And I went back earlier, and if he's protected, I don't see him making bad decisions. Like, he's a very, very smart cat, but things got to work around him. But there are going to be those moments. I feel, when I've seen nationally, it's like, are you artificially lifting up JJ McCarthy? I don't think we are locally. I think it is the ups and downs of camp. You have to be honest about the trials and tribulations of what is effectively a rookie from a playing standpoint. But you also have to believe in the guy that we've been lauding as some sort of QB guru, that he chose this guy and eschewed other options for a reason. So I believe in the positive aspect of that, and I believe on the growth along the way.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's unfair to be like he's kind of a rookie, but it's not like Jordan Love or Patrick Mahomes, where they sat healthily and were able to play on the scout team and see looks and try passes. Like, that's a benefit of actually being healthy. So he missed a lot of that time. And the only replacement for that is now the reps that he's getting. And I will say, Kevin O'Connell often used the early part of training camp to assess for the quarterback in particular, what is this guy like? What can I call here? What do I remember about this moment and how he reacted that will inform a play call come the season? So, I again said it earlier. Like, it's been up and down. Guaranteed JJ will say that. And tomorrow is an opportunity for him to kind of show what everyone here in this town has looked forward to for a very long time. It's going to be fun.
Thanks for hanging out on the feast with us, brother.
Always a good time.
Any fresh bits on the Athletic that we should be looking forward to in the coming days, other than reactions, of course, to the big debut tomorrow?
Yeah, comprehensive coverage to this preseason game, but maybe something next week that could be interesting.
Okay, I dig it. That's The Athletic's Alec Lewis at Alec_Lewis via X. Follow him. He's going to be a Friday Feast cohort throughout the regular season. Always appreciate his time. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, PA, down at TCO. Handling some family business, as they say. I'm Nordo. Thanks for listening to 9 to noon. The Grum is next. Looking forward to this preseason game tomorrow on the Fan. Have a great afternoon, a great weekend, everybody.